Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks, ranging from bestsellers to celebrity memoirs, news, business, and self-development. Every month, members get 1 credit to pick any title, plus 2 Audible originals from a monthly selection, and access to daily news digests from the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post, as well as guided meditation programs. Between a full-time job in IT and a full-time job in podcasting, it gets harder and harder to sit down and read the books I'm interested in. This is where Audible comes in. I can listen on my daily commute, relaxing, or while out running errands and still get in the books I've been wanting to get into. You can download titles and listen offline anytime, anywhere. The app is free and can be installed on all smartphones and tablets. Now you can try Audible risk-free with a special 30-day free trial by visiting audibletrial.com/Nerdery and Murdery. That's audibletrial.com/Nerdery and Murdery. Don't let your busy life get in the way of that great book you've been wanting to read. Go get your free trial of Audible today. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. This is Geoffrey, and we've talked about many times before that I experience problems and struggles with my mental health. And really, without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is therapy does work. It's helped for me, but what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships at work, or you're not dealing well with stress. Whatever you need, it's really time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles, and it's time to start feeling better because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is a customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. So join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. And there's a special offer to Nerdery and Murdery listeners. You can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/Nerdery and Murdery. That's betterhelp.com/Nerdery and Murdery. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast. Welcome to episode 200 of Nerdery and Murdery.
Big 200. I'm Zig with your murdery today.
And I'm Geoffrey with your nerdery today. Welcome to another week of the highs and lows, the ups and downs, the good and the bad, and the nerd and the murd. Episode 200. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. We invited some people to join us. We do have Stephen and Mike from Two Geeks and a Microphone, if you want to say hello.
I'm Steven with Two Geeks and a Microphone.
And I'm Mike from Two Geeks and a Microphone.
And we do have K3 with us as well. She's been on with us before. Please say hello yourself.
I'm K3 with your internery. I'm over here in the other side of the house.
There's some other people that may join in late or may not join in at all. Don't know, but we did invite several people for this, for the big milestone episode for us, because this marks 4 years. 4 years.
4 years.
Wow.
4 years covering all this weird stuff that we cover, and we get new listeners all the time. I talk with people, and they get really interested in the subject matter and in the weird crossing we do of this. I don't think anybody out there is doing anything like this. And so people are like, really? That's interesting.
Does it work? Yeah, it works really well.
Absolutely, it does. Absolutely.
Well, I think if you guys have been at it for 4 years, I'm sitting thinking, man, that's a lot of nerdery and murdery content.
It is. Well, and there are times where I'm sitting there going, because I subscribe to a whole bunch of different true crime article sites just to get different ideas and whatnot. And I'll go through there, and after 200 episodes, I'm like, oh man, that sounds interesting. Oh wait, I've covered that one before. Okay, next.
Oh, this is
And I have to go back and look through our episodes, and I'm like, man, this really sounds familiar. Oh, that's right, because it was episode X. So it's been quite the journey. We've talked about this before, and we talked about it way back in episode 1. The idea for our show came about from our producer Will, who, if he can join, he will. We're not sure if he will be able to today or not. But just Will sitting around listening to Zig and I debating about some weird topic we were talking about.
It was dumb too. It was really dumb.
Well, they usually are, And William said, you two need a radio show. And that's when I was like, man, I've wanted to do a podcast for a while. And we started talking about it and going through everything, started in the planning of everything. And I think, we went months into planning, and we were planning that it was going to come out months in advance. And then we started recording, and we're like, you know what, we can release early. But we had all kinds of ideas for what we were going to do with the show. The initial name for the show was going to be Please Hand Me That Piano. Complete random shit that you never hear anywhere else. And then I'm driving to work one day, and literally I was listening to another true crime podcast, and I was driving to work, and it hit me, and I ran into work because Zig and I worked together in the same office at the time.
It was right after the big freeze that we had down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we'd all been out like a couple of days because nobody could get out of their house.
That was down in Texas, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I ran in and I said, I've got it. I've got the idea. I've got the name for the show, Nerdery and Murdery. And it was just like, ding, 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 ding. That's it.
I believe my response was, you fucking genius.
And, we went along, and throughout this, the really cool thing about this is we've got to meet new people along the way. I found Two Geeks and a Microphone through some Facebook podcast site. And I saw the name of their show, and I reached out after listening to them, and then we started talking. And then we were like, we need to do a show together. And we did. The very first thing we did was The Exorcist, the first one we did, or was it another one?
Yes. Yeah.
Was it The Exorcist?
Yeah. As The Exorcist and the North Fox Island murders. Big old two-parter. And that was our first foray with them. And then since then we've been on their show, they've been on ours. And then we got introduced to Three Geeky Dads, and they've been on our show. And I have to say, with that, I'm giving a preview. There is a potential of another 3-way episode where we're talking about our 3 shows doing a versus. And the last time we did all 3 shows, it was hysterical.
What did
you
Brian
can tell we're
call
all
it?
boys because we giggled when you said 3-way.
Yes.
What did Brian call it? Menage de pod or something like that?
Menage de pod, yeah.
Menage de pod. Oh my God. We were workshopping it on a big chat. Oh my God.
So I won't give the subject for that because we're still in the talks about that. But just the other day it sparked off a massive chat session over Facebook Messenger. I went into a half-hour meeting and my phone was going bing, 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 bing. And I get out of my meeting and there's like 40 messages sitting there.
Yeah, they were popping up on mine too, and I'm just like, hey, I gotta work.
That's kind of where I was. And I had to scream into the chat, save it for the podcast.
Hey, that's our tagline.
The poor man's hidden temple.
That's one of those many things I've stolen from Two Geeks and a Microphone.
Nah.
Akira Kurosawa fanboys.
All spare and love and podcasting.
And before I get into the things I want to talk about the show, there's a few things I wanted to mention here. Number one, Two Geeks and a Microphone are a favorite podcast of mine. I love listening to them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely love y'all's show. And I love listening to it when I work or when I'm driving. I get enough of listening to us.
Vain, I don't. I listen to us all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, that is a really great playlist. Damn, Zig, you're a genius.
But I wanted to give y'all both a shout out. We've talked about this before because both Mike and Steven are now published authors, which I'm very jealous of. Still trying to get mine published. Still not done editing.
We're waiting to promote you, man.
I know. I've got to. I've got to just sit down and finish it because I was trying to get some people who are not familiar with the characters I wrote about to give me some reviews because I need to make sure it makes sense for somebody who doesn't know the storyline or the general topic. So
now, have you pushed it through AutoCrit and stuff yet?
Yeah, I put it in AutoCrit. It's given me some recommendations, and I'm kind of working through that. And I think what I need to do is I'm going to need to take a weekend and just plow through AutoCrit and just say, you know what, I'm going to go for it.
For my supernatural thriller that I'm still writing, that's where I'm stuck. I've sent it through, and I'm going, oh gosh, it's just going to be a sprint to try to get all that update.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for the tools, the AI tools that go through and help you go, okay, you got to think of this, or you've used this word too many times, or and stuff. And,
AutoCrit was very helpful for mine.
Yeah, that is a great little program. But
it's basically it's a book editor. It's like sending it to a book editor. Only you get it out quick as opposed to them reading it and going, no.
It's a much more cheaper.
It's a much more cheaper.
Book editor.
Much more better. Cheers.
Cheers.
But Mike also, his book is now an audio book, which I have been listening to. I've got about 30. There we go. The Immortality Code. Got about 30 minutes left in the book right now. So I've been listening to that. It's great. I love it. Y'all have done a great job.
How did you like the audiobook?
I love how proper and British the speaker is.
Nice. You made that comment the other day too.
Yes.
Making a play off of Brian's from Three Geeky Dads, how he promotes Audible. So that was good. Although we are not on Audible, I could not get it on Audible. I had problems with that, so I put it up on our own platform. It is on the Two Geeks and a Microphone Ko-fi page. So
yep, and that's where I got my copy.
Nice,
right?
Thank you.
I have a physical copy of the book though, so
do I.
And Steven, promote your book real quick.
Oh well, which one? The one that's actually published?
Yes.
So I'm an ex-pastor, but there's still a lot of tools that I use just to help in my everyday life. And so one of the things I learned in seminary 20 some odd years ago, I had this really great tool that I would use, and I would read in the book of Psalms. And the book of Psalms in the Bible is, all these, there's a lot of them written by David and through certain times in his life, or if you're going through something. And I found them really encouraging. So there's much that, like a lot of other people, I have my blue days, I'll say it like that, and stuff. And I always found them to be really cool. So really, it's just a day-to-day thing to help people where they can go through a psalm. I learned this little trick where you could read a psalm. There's 150 psalms in the book of Psalms, and you could read 5 a day and really get through the whole thing in a month if you wanted to. But rather than that, it's kind of a system where it picks based upon the day of the month. You can pick certain 5, and I guarantee one of those speaks to where you're at that day, 100%.
There is a book that is very similar to that. I'm looking on my bookshelf. Where is it? But it's called.
Mike's got my book.
The Psalms Math.
Oh, it's got a name on it.
Yep.
My sister gave it to me, and it's a daily read as well, and it's that's good stuff. And then you've got a supernatural one coming.
I do. I have a supernatural thriller where
I can't wait for this next one too.
Yeah, it's the story of a guy who's just finishing seminary. He lost his dad when he was a kid, and he wanted to follow in his father's footsteps, and so he went to seminary. But he feels empty. He's like, he's struggling with purpose, and lo and behold, ends up these supernatural things start happening around him. Doesn't know what's going on, tries to research and figure out what's happening because he's still at the seminary. He knows people in the library and other professors, and then realizes that just there's a whole unseen realm at play, more so than what he studied, and how very real it is. And then, and so then it begins a journey where he gets asked to be part of an international exorcist group. Supernatural exorcists to deal with supernatural monsters or demons or things like that. And so it's kind of the whole story of that journey, the team that he becomes a part of and the interactions between them. And I'm a certified trainer in what's called the process communication model. And it's how different people, it's a communication model based upon personality types, kind of, but we all have all the types in us. So I designed, even within the book, how people can connect with other people based upon their personality. And so each team member is a different personality framework. And so I brought them together to see how they interact with each other and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Stephen, have you watched the TV show Evil?
I have seen the first season. Really liked it.
Yeah.
I really.
Oh, you haven't even got to Sister.
Yeah,
no, but
Martin
I'm aware of her because, of course,
awesome.
if you like something, it pops up on your YouTube feed. I don't know, magically. I don't know how it happens, but I've seen the clips with her, and I love it.
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
We did cover that for an episode.
Yeah, I don't think it's out yet, but or is it? Is it out this week?
I think it's out.
Yeah.
Oh, Stephen, tell your main character's name.
For which one?
For the Supernatural book.
I forgot what I called them. I have not reviewed it in like months because I worked on the Psalms path. I stopped and worked on it real quick because there was some need for it for some people I knew and stuff.
His name is Ethan.
Ethan, that's funny.
Yeah. My main character's name is Ethan.
Oh, yeah. Also. Yeah. And that just kind of happened. That was kind of funny about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was not planned at all.
With you talking
you guys should do a crossover, Ethan and Ethan.
Right.
Actually, that would work, actually.
Might be interesting.
Stephen, with you talking about a supernatural one like that, there's two books, and I don't remember the second book, but it's by an author, Frank E. Peretti, and his first book was This Present Darkness. I think that's a great book.
I read that when it first came out.
Yeah.
And actually, if I unblur my thing, I have This Present Darkness up there.
Yeah, we can't see it. It's blurred.
Oh, yeah. Oops. Hang on.
See your finger.
I blurred it out. Sorry, everybody.
Do you have the second one?
Blurry shape, but it's book.
Yeah.
What was that?
K3, what was that?
Oh, I was being like, if you see this blurry shape, it's the book.
It's a book, right?
Nice.
So I've got, I have, This Present Darkness, Piercing the Darkness.
Piercing the Darkness, that's the second one.
And then Monster, and then The Oath. I have those 4. Now, how did I get them? Because I love going to me some Goodwill and getting a book for $2. So I know what books I want to get, and then you know who I can't find?
Who?
Is Heinlein. I cannot find any because they're on my list to get because of my interactions with you
half
guys.
Price, man.
Oh, yeah, Half Price. You can go to Half Price.
They may not have them up there.
Matter of fact, had I known that you dug that when you were down around Dallas-Fort Worth last, I'd have sent you up to Denton to the Opera House. You would have found some Heinlein there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a 3-story used bookstore.
Yeah.
Records, books.
Wow.
Gaming modules.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
I'm sorry, did you just say gaming modules?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The gaming modules is on the second floor, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. Used records, used books. They got more records than you guys remember like Sound Warehouse record stores? They got more records than them.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So anyway, congratulations to y'all too, both as authors. We plugged you on the show, and I think that's really, really cool.
Thank you, sir.
A couple of other things I wanted to throw out there, and then I'll step into it. Zig, you need to go to all8bit.com, and that's the number 8, all8bit.com. I saw it today. It's a little plugin console, and it has over 100,000 old console games on it.
K3.
Hold on, let me pause Kirby. Wait, no, I'm not playing Kirby. I mean, what?
All8bit.com.
All8bit.com.
Yeah,
we'll look it up when we're done with this.
It's got Atari, it's got Intellivision, it's got Sega Genesis. I saw Commodore 64 stuff on there. I just saw this today. I think it's about $150.
I hear typing.
It's it's $129.99.
$129.99. There we go.
It's right now 48% off.
They have Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Do they have Saturn?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I said it's got tons of console, over 100,000 games in this little thing.
Does it work?
I don't know. Buy it. Find out.
Oh my goodness! Look at all.
$129, and you get 2 controllers. If you want 4, it's $159.
And, yeah, wireless controllers.
A section dedicated to arcade. And what is Pokemon Mini?
I don't know. I saw that. It's probably a handheld that came out. I'm sure, but we've talked so many consoles throughout episodes. It was funny when I saw that today. I brought it up.
Have a Master System section. Okay, where's the RPG?
I think we've lost K3.
Our listener Paul that we've mentioned before, he sent me a message this week, and Zig, he wanted to give you a big thank you for covering REM. He was familiar with some REM, but not their full discography, and now he is just going cover to cover.
Oh, nice.
So
Dude, man, the first 7 albums were all fastballs, baby.
He sent out a big thank you for that.
Ooh, it's got Super Star Wars.
Yeah.
May have lost Mike, too.
Somebody
should save that for the last part of the show.
Yeah.
Probably. One of the reviews gave it 5 out of 5 stars and called it nostalgia overload.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to have to get this thing.
That looks cool.
But yeah. So I had those things. A couple of the things I just wanted to talk about. And Zig, you can answer this. I can answer this. Anybody on here can answer this. As we've hit our 200, well, maybe that will be the answer actually. As we've hit 200, Zig, I'm going to start with you actually. Out of all 200 episodes, what was your favorite one to cover?
You know what? We said this at our first year anniversary or second year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
I still think the one we did over Factory Records was hysterical.
That was a great episode. That was a fun episode. That one was Factory Records and the strange case of Brianna Stewart. I think Brianna Stewart.
Oh yeah. Because there was no actual murder. This person just disappeared and popped up as someone else.
Yeah, very very wild episode. For me, I was kind of really thinking through it. For me, I think it was either, for the nerdery side at any rate, Shadowrun or Battlestar Galactica were my favorites for the nerdery.
Yeah.
Just as much as we geeked out about that.
Oh yeah. Well, Battlestar Galactica was requested.
Yes.
We knew we were going to do a Shadowrun episode. We that was going to have to happen. But like Battlestar Galactica, we were kind of kicking the idea around, and there was it Greg?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of our friends and fan, Greg. I won't give his name out. Other than Greg. He was like, you have to do Battlestar Galactica. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
how about y'all? How about some y'all? What have been some of your favorites or favorite parts of the show?
The ones that we're in.
Well, truth be
Damn,
told,
that Steven's a genius.
my favorites has been the music ones that I've done with you guys.
Those were
Michael's
really
a genius.
And Juice. Thank you.
Those were fun. And I mean, for that, I think out of those, my favorite, I think it's really a tie. I would either go the hair bands or the best of worst of 80s. Those were really cool episodes to do.
Oh my God, those lists made me so mad.
Yeah.
Those made all of us mad.
They made me so mad. How do you have a best of the 1980s and Howard Jones's "No One Is to Blame" is not in that list?
Well,
Well,
I just remember you.
They were
sent
Rolling
out,
Stone.
Yeah, right. One of you
Rolling
two sent
Stone.
out a message to me saying how you had a list of best and worst of the 80s from Rolling Stone. And I'm like, Rolling Stone, I hate Rolling Stone. I want to be on this episode.
Yeah.
I went a lot of times I look at your guys' playlist. I don't listen to every in order. I usually find something that you guys have already done and stuff. And The Last Starfighter, I really super enjoyed because I loved it. I love The Last Starfighter.
Oh.
And so that was one I think I connected with just because of my past and stuff. So that was one of my favorites.
Well, on the murdery side, I think my absolute favorite one that I covered. I have some favorites for those. I mean, I found the Israel Keys one extremely interesting. The Circleville letter writer, but
that was weird.
That was a weird one. But the one that really kept me up at night for the longest time, and it took so long to research it, was Chad and Lori Daybell, and her trial is still going on right now. That one took me, if I remember right, I think 2 months to research.
Ooh.
Because it just twists in and out, and honestly, I hope they bury her under the courthouse when it's all said and done. It was funny
under the jail.
Yeah, throw her under the jail. I was walking past the TV just a week or two ago, and I went, "Ooh, there's a Lori Daybell update. Turn that up." Because I do follow, any of these that are still unresolved. I typically follow all the way through the conclusion of the trial to see what see updates and things like that are going on. Gabby Petito was a favorite of mine. That was our first one that we released immediately. I mean, I researched it, we recorded it, and released it the next day. And there's a Netflix special that just came out on it, which
we just finished it a couple of weeks ago.
There were some things in that I didn't know past when I recorded, because they've now found his journal where he admitted he killed her, and everything like that. So that was a really, really good special. But I kind of wanted to go on the opposite side of the coin on that, because I had some things in mind. Zig, if you were to look back over all 200 episodes now, what is a regret you have about where we are?
Oh wow!
Because I actually
having us
have
on the show.
I wish we'd have started. I wish we'd have started rolling video at the beginning.
Oh,
I wish we'd have started rolling video at the beginning. I still like the fact that we don't go live. It's the production mindset that I got when I was a teenager doing public access television. You will never see any of it. It doesn't. I don't even think it exists anymore. And it's terrible. But it was only marginally good because we didn't roll anything live. And I feel what's great about it is, and this was, and it's my fault. It is totally my fault, because when we first started talking about this right around the time of the freeze, Geoffrey's like, "Hey, we should do this and all that." Whoa. We should get 12 episodes in the can before we ever release anything.
We said 10.
And he's
we said
like,
10.
Was it 10? Yeah. And then we got up to 12 and started releasing. So if we ever have to take a break, we're good to go.
Yeah, I mean,
because we've always got 10 in the can.
Yeah, sitting today, there are 8 episodes ready to release. that are they're already scheduled. They're already scheduled out. This
we are
episode,
never that far ahead.
oh yeah, this episode here won't come out until
The
last
fourth
part
year.
of May, or no, it'll be in. I think it'll be in June.
Yeah,
is
early
when
part of
this
June.
actually comes out.
Yeah, our first episode dropped on K3's birthday, which is June 6th, which is why when they were a kid, we called them D-Day.
Yep.
I also turned 2 on 6606, so that tells you something.
You know, Stephen and I didn't even have that many in the can when we were doing it that way. Because once we made the decision to go live each week, then we didn't worry about it.
Mhm.
But we tried to record in advance, and I think we would try and at least have 2 episodes in advance.
Yeah.
And then we get caught up with those 2. And then there were days where Stephen and I would come on and we go, "What are we doing today? I don't know."
We had
We
that
gotta figure
conversation.
something out.
What are we doing this week?
Well, and for me, it's research too. There's so much research I have to do
Oh,
for each
gosh,
subject I do.
Yeah.
I read through court documents. I need to read through news articles. I watch documentaries if they're out there. There's so much that I have to look at because I want to make sure to cover the stories properly, and more than anything else, because I want to give a name to the victims.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a big thing for me.
Yeah, I like that. I don't think I ever realized that, but that's giving names to the victims. That's really good.
I
And
think that's
openly,
important.
that's the other thing that sets your guys' podcast, both sides, the Nerdery and Murdery, is the amount of research that you guys do.
Yes.
My research is 10 minutes before we go on air. No, I'm just kidding. That's not true.
Well, I like my research. I usually start
it's
with
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Actually.
I usually start with the basic Wikipedia information. I want names, dates.
Right.
Like, I want to be able to riff on that, but I also go into like when the music. I want to go down into Discog and some other stuff, or the band's website or some other stuff, and or I'll be watching documentaries about the band and stuff like that. That's why I like to make that YouTube playlist. I got plenty of time to do that because, as he said, we have 8 episodes in the can right now, ready to go. Actually, we've got 2 more we haven't put on the list yet.
Correct. We've got 2 more that are that are finishing being edited, but we actually have 8 scheduled for release already.
Yeah, so we have 10 altogether. After that, I have 20 more episodes noted out, and there's YouTube playlists for them.
Thanks, Steven. I thought we were doing pretty good when we had it scheduled through May.
Oh yeah, I got YouTube playlists going all the way up to episode 220 right now.
Typically, at any one time, I only have 3 episodes researched because that's all I can keep in my head.
Right.
He has to research a lot more than I do.
Hey, for the record, that's a lot in your head.
It is a lot in my head.
That's a lot of dark shit, sir. And thank you for doing that because I hate it.
And that's why I can only do about 3 at a time that I'm researching, because it's just like that's too much dark shit in my head.
Yeah. The first one was funny, and I keep waiting for another funny murderer.
Well, okay, so there we go. So that's what I was going to say is my biggest regret of the show. I regret episode 1 and 2.
Really?
The reason I regret episode 1 and 2, those of you who have not listened to episode 1, it's The Man Who Wouldn't Die. It's so funny. It's a hysterical story about this guy who they kept trying to kill him and he would not die. Go back and listen to episode 1. It's very funny. It's very entertaining.
Great Replacements episode 2, by the way.
But then I followed it up with episode 2, which is so horrifically tragic. I mean,
we were crying.
It's
recording it.
Yes, it was a deeply personal story to me, and I regret that sudden switch. I almost wish I had saved Sylvia Likens for later. I did it so quick because it's an important story for me, because I think the people who tortured this young girl, I think their names need to continue to be out there, because some of them are still alive. And so it was just a very deeply touching story to me. But following up The Man Who Wouldn't Die with Sylvia Likens is a regret to me. I wish I'd kind of held on to Sylvia a little ways down the road. So
Oh yeah, I think we figured out our stab in episode 2 or 3. Basically, we were about to record because we record 3 episodes on a recording day.
mhm.
We were actually at Jeff's house with these microphones. We still have the microphones. We never use them
I
anymore.
do too. They're in my closet.
I really, really want to get those because they sound great. But so we're standing
Steven
around.
and I are still using our original microphones.
Nice. So we're sitting around it. We're looking at it, and I got the microphone in front of me, and I'm like, and on. And I was just doing like a stupid radio thing because there was a microphone in front of me, just kind of riffing. And they were like, "Hey, can we do that?" And Will was like, "We could use that as a stinger or a stab." And I was like, "What is a stinger?" And he's like, "It's like the opening of it." So that's it. And then we recorded a bunch, and now we basically riff stabs on just about every episode. But we have some others that we've got recorded that we didn't use one for this episode because it's 200. It's yay, right. 200 episodes.
Yeah, we had I think we had somewhere between 6 and 8 original stabs that we kind of recycled through for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then William said, "Hey, that's getting kind of boring. We need to change that up." So we changed it up. And
and we had our friend Keith, who I just texted. I'm like, "Why don't you hop onto this, dude?"
He said he wasn't at the house, so he may not be able to join. But yeah, I went and spent the weekend down in Austin at his house, and I had him record some stabs that I surprised Ziggy with. He didn't even know it was coming.
Oh my god, it was so funny! Stop calling me Chipwich, asshole. Because it's a nickname from when he was in school. He hates.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I
it's been
I did for the Star Wars episode. When I read the Sith code.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys go, "Who the hell is that?"
Who the hell is that?
Right.
And then I think Will said, "I don't know, but he scares me."
And there have been a couple of stabs that William has recorded that he's just thrown in himself, which I think are hysterical. I love when he does that.
Those are my favorites. He's like, "I don't know what the hell's wrong with these guys."
I think Will probably has a lot of regrets for giving us this idea in the first place. So.
Yeah, but we keep dragging him along with us.
He doesn't like the sound of his voice, which is why he doesn't come on.
If you've ever heard the stabs, I don't know why. He has a great voice for radio.
Yeah,
agreed.
That's just him. He just doesn't like the sound of his own voice, so got to respect that. So move on.
He edits.
Excuse me. Yeah, but yeah. So I mean that's been our journey to get here. It's been a phenomenal ride. I'm looking forward to 200 more. I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait.
I do have one more thing before we go on. To everyone who said we would run out of ideas after a year and a half, suck it.
I think I sent you
20 more after this one, mother.
I think I sent you 5 more ideas just the other day.
Yes, you did. And I'm mixing them into some more.
Cover more tokusatsu.
The hell was that?
Sounds like somebody wants to be on an episode again.
Ah, man.
Tokusatsu.
Well, with all that, I thank all of our listeners for sticking with us for 200 episodes. I thank Mike and Steven for going along on this journey with us. And, we've made such good friends with them. Mike and I watch the Cowboys game together almost every week.
Yes,
I'm so sorry,
as painful as it is.
I wish I could throw something at Steven.
I'm sorry.
K3 having come on several times, everybody that's been a part of this at one point or another, and especially our listeners, thank you all for taking this journey through 200 with us, 199 with us. And now you're subject to 200. So we started originally on the 10th episode. We decided to switch roles for the day. We affectionately call it our wife swap. And since then, we've done it every 25 episodes. And it gives Zig a lot of anxiety because the true crime part of it makes him nervous. But I
Don't like it.
Well,
I love swapping on this side. I love finding different topics to do. And I was really excited about this one. And we actually talked about it very briefly earlier in the show. But for episode 200, I'm going to be talking about AI, artificial intelligence.
And I have
is
an
that why you
AI
had
murder.
us on?
What did you
kinda
say,
fun.
Mike?
I said, is that why you had us on?
Well, the funny
Because
thing is,
we've embraced our AI overlords.
Exactly.
yeah. Well, I was going to say, I was like, oh, all this research you guys are doing. Do you know about Perplexity AI? And it's like,
No.
It's so nice. If I had like an extra $20 a month, I'd stay subscribed to it.
Well, why don't you tell us about it since you're talking?
Right? It is so it's AI that what it does is it searches the web. And so you ask a question or you help, work with it. It gives you answers, but it cites its sources on the web. And what I'm talking about when it cites sources are not like blog posts or Wikipedia, but actual like places where that are, what's the best way to say? Like I did some research on some doctor stuff that's going on in my family. So it cited source. It went to like not just WebMD, but also Mayo Clinic and all these others.
You're talking peer-reviewed articles.
Yeah, that's the best way. So but it also has other things where it pulls it from other locations as well. So, but that are a little bit more detailed. But it cites it, so you can go to that link. And then you can click on it, and then you can go, oh, here. It'll do YouTube videos if you want, and some other things like that. But it's pretty cool for research.
I may have to check that out.
Just saying it.
Yeah. That might help you out a lot there, Senior Geoffrey.
Really?
Maybe.
It may introduce you to some other websites or some other details on some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can do that as well because I do cite them when I read them because I'll find articles. And typically when I find a subject I want to talk about, I then go out and look for all the other articles that are out there. What are the most current news on it, everything like that. So that might be interesting. I might take a look at that. But yeah, I mean, today's extra special nerdy content is being covered by me. AI, it's a technology that is transforming everything we do, from how we work, how we play, how we think about the future. It's big.
Yeah.
Through this, I'm going to talk about the history of AI, the benefits of it, the challenges it presents, and then some of the ethical questions that we need to discover. And along the way, I really open it to debate because AI is equal parts exciting and scary.
Agreed.
The debate that surrounds AI, it's just as complex as the algorithms that power it.
Nice.
Well so stated. Before we can really jump into AI, let's go back to the beginning because AI is not as new as you think. It's not as new as anybody thinks. The seeds of AI were actually planted long before computers existed. Philosophers like Aristotle speculated about automated human reasoning. Mathematicians like Ada Lovelace imagined machines that were capable of more than just arithmetic. In ancient times, humans imagined machines or constructs imbued with intelligence or life. In Greek mythology, Hephaestus, the god of craft, built automata.
Wait. The god of what?
Craft.
Sorry, I thought that you said crap for a second.
No.
The god of
Craft.
That's okay. I thought he said the god of crack.
But he built automata that were mechanical servants that can move on their own.
Automata.
Thank you. In Chinese legend, the engineer Yan Shi created a life-size mechanical man around 1000 BCE. During the Renaissance, people started to explore the concept in earnest. Leonardo da Vinci developed a mechanical knight in 1995 that could sit, wave its arms, and move its head. Then we go up to the 20th century. We had the idea of machines performing human-like reasoning that started to gain serious traction. In 1943, Warren McCulloch and Walter Pitts laid the groundwork for neural networks in proposing their mathematical model of how neurons in the brain might work. In 1950, Alan Turing, who is often called the father of modern computing. Oh, I lost my video somewhere. Often called the author of modern computing, he published a groundbreaking paper titled Computing, Machinery, and Intelligence.
The Turing test.
The Turing test. This was a thought experiment to determine whether a machine could exhibit intelligent behavior indistinguishable from a human. Alan Turing did pose the famous question, can machines think? The official birth of AI as a field came in 1956 at the Dartmouth Conference. Here, John McCarthy, Marvin Minsky, Nathaniel Rochester, and Claude Shannon coined the term artificial intelligence. Their goal was to create machines that were capable of tasks like reasoning, learning, and problem solving. In the 60s and 70s was where AI saw its golden age. There were programs like Eliza, which was an early chatbot, and Shaky the robot. Yep, I played Eliza as well.
Yep.
Shaky the robot. This was the first robot to reason about its action. Progress slowed in the 80s due to high cost and limited computing power, and this was actually the period known as the AI winter. In the 90s, was the start of the AI resurgence. There was increased computing power and new algorithms. In 1997, IBM's Deep Blue made history by defeating Garry Kasparov in chess. And this is where it showed that machines could outperform humans in very specific, well-defined paths. During the 2000s, the AI began to flourish with the advent of machine learning. Applications expanded into areas like search engines, spam filtering, and voice recognition. The launch of Google in 1998 and technologies like Siri in 2011 demonstrated how AI could be integrated in everyday life. But it wasn't until the 2010 that AI truly exploded thanks to advancements in deep learning, big data, and computational power. Today, we've got AI power tools like ChatGPT, autonomous vehicles, and then even the recommendations on your favorite streaming platforms, which this is all AI. Generative AI has also emerged as a force. OpenAI's ChatGPT series, including ChatGPT. DeepMind's AlphaGo shocked the world in 2016 when it defeated a top-ranked Go player. In healthcare, AI has begun identifying diseases from medical images, and in transportation, companies like Tesla and Waymo have brought us closer to fully autonomous vehicles. And honestly, today, AI is touching every aspect of our lives, from personal recommendations to cutting-edge scientific discoveries. So that kind of takes us to where we headed. Experts are predicting that AI will continue to advance rapidly with breakthroughs in areas like quantum computing, artificial general intelligence, which is AGI, and human-machine interfaces. But again, these advancements raise questions about ethics, control, and how we're going to balance innovation with responsibility. AI has come a long way from ancient Greece to the neural networks of today. The history is a testament to human curiosity and ingenuity, but also a reminder, with great power comes great responsibility.
Nice.
So that's really where AI started all the way up to now. It's not anything new. They've been envisioning it for a long time. And I'm sorry, my camera, I think, died on me because it's completely failed to start. So I'm gonna be dark the rest of the time. I think AI doesn't like that I'm talking about it.
Okay. It's not artificial intelligence, though. I mean, not really. It's not real intelligence.
I
Okay.
don't know about
Are we
that
debating now?
because it takes. So let's talk about let's talk about recommendation. Let's talk about recommendations for a second. There is every possibility in the world that if I sit here and I talk to you like I have this AA battery sitting on my desk because I need to replace one on one of my mouse. And I'm going to start talking about the Energizer battery that I have in my hand right here. I'm going to guarantee you I can go onto Facebook today and I will have ads for some sort of battery, some sort of
Yeah, but
innovation.
that's not intelligence, though. That is nice. That is automation. I will agree.
It is,
But-
and it is part intelligence because it starts to take
Yeah,
things that
yeah,
you're
that's not-
talking about.
That's
and
not intelligence.
Going out and figuring out the things that you would like, starting to show you ads for things it knows you like because it's learning about you. I see it all the time. I was talking to people about our show. And I was talking that we do, all the different things we do. And I started talking about console games. And lo and behold, today, Allbit, or whatever that was, that
All 8-bit.
all8bit.com shows up on my Facebook feed this morning because it learned something about me. And it thought, you know what? He's going to be interested in that. And listen to, as I talked about it earlier today. Hey, Zig, you got to be on this. And now everybody starts looking at it. That's a type of intelligence. It's learning.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a type of intelligence like a planarian worm. Okay, maybe I should qualify that statement. It's not human intelligence.
Well, I agree with that. It's not
Right.
human
It's
intelligence.
not at this point. No, it's not. But it's learning constantly.
It's not sentience. Maybe that should put it that way.
As far as we're aware. At this point.
Could okay, eventually, I'm sure. Could it full avoid comp test?
Sure. Right. Exactly. And that's where that's where they talk about responsible AI. Generative AI is getting big and getting scary.
Yeah.
We have blocked generative AI at work. Now,
Yes, we have.
at the same time, we are experimenting with responsible AI. Zig and I both work in the healthcare field. Our company is experimenting or starting to research into responsible AI because they're talking about how it can help in the medical field going forward. We saw just the scratching of the surface of this years ago when we first went to electronic health records. We also started programming that they can input symptoms into a computer, and the computer is going to spit out the probability of what is going on with that person. What is their sickness? What is their ailment? And then start to recommend treatment plan. Go ahead.
I can speak to that. So my wife had some things that were going on in her world and some stuff that we've been kind of addressing. And every time she went to the doctor, I would take the doctor's notes. And then every time she got like blood tests done, I took those results. When she got a CT scan on some things and stuff, I gathered all those notes. I threw them into Claude AI. And I said, can you put this into layman's terms for me to understand? And it analyzed everything and said, this is what this means, this is what this means, and this is what this means and stuff. And I said, okay, I asked it, what are possible treatment plans that this could be? And it says, for this condition, these are certain things that are coming up. Based upon your results, it looks like, it started mapping saying, probably not this because the levels don't show this or that and stuff. So it's crazy. It was helpful, but it was a little freaky.
So
it's a mini computer, like we've been wanting since in science fiction, like an LCARS or a.
But so as I was writing my book, my book has taken me 10 years to write because it's been in my head for well over 10 years. And I finally started to decide, you know what? The problem I had was I knew the start of the story, I knew the end of the story, and I had a general idea of everything in between. Getting there was my problem, connecting all the dots. And I would get to a point where I would have the block, and the block would shut me down. And so I would take my spiral notebook that I was writing in when I went that route and put it to the side. I would come back to it a year or two later and then come back to it. Well, I finally started working with AI. And as I was writing, when I came to those blocks, I would ask the AI, this is where I am. I'm not really sure kind of how to get to the next step. This is where I need the characters to go. And it started helping me get past those blocks. And what was weird to me, the more I wrote, the more the AI understood my characters and started giving me stuff on the characters that I hadn't given it yet, but I knew about the characters.
Yeah, well, basically, it's an electric Chicago manual for style.
It's learning.
Yeah, but it's still just an electric Chicago manual for style. It's a good one, but it's still basically telling you, okay, your character's doing this, this, and this. You need to go here. If you open up a Chicago manual for style for a writer, it's going to tell you the same thing. Only in your case, it's a lot more refined, which is a beautiful thing. I still don't know if that's necessarily intelligence.
Is it intelligent? Okay, so much of what I've used, Claude is a language learning model. So it has a predictive nature based upon how you've said these things. This would be kind of the way to do that. But I don't know. I have struggled whether or not if it's intelligence or if it's just spitting out parameters on that. But boy, when it makes decisions on what to give me, that's why I start to think, okay, it is artificial intelligence because it's making decisions. It's not just saying 1, 2, 3. It's making a choice between them. I've even asked Claude, I've said, in your opinion, what would be the best course of action based upon these different things? And it makes a choice. And it gives me the rationale for that choice, which makes me think and process that it is a level of intelligence.
And you hit it really right on the nail head. Is it true intelligence? No, probably not. Is it artificial intelligence? Absolutely, it is.
There you go.
And it's learning. Well, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about artificial intelligence, AI, because it is learning, it's adapting, and as I said at the very beginning, there's some very scary things that are coming out about it. And if we're not responsible with it, and we let it get past the limits we want to give it, what's going to happen?
Skynet.
And it could be.
It's going to blow up the planet.
We knew it was coming. Mike just dropped it.
I mean,
it's going to be big metal skeletons trying to kill us all.
There's pros and cons.
John Connor tried to warn us.
Oh, they've tried to warn us for years.
Sarah.
And the military has built little field terminators. They have them. They have them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's pros and cons of AI. Let me kind of talk about the pros for a minute, because it is exciting. A lot of people are getting excited about it day in and day out about the things that are doing. It's making life easier in a lot of ways. You wake up, your AI assistant has already adjusted your smart thermostat. These things happen. It can order your groceries based on weekly habits. It can map out the quickest route to work to keep you, out of traffic. In healthcare, it's literally saving lives.
Yes, it is.
IBM's Watson for oncology helps doctors analyze medical data to recommend treatments. There's AI-driven imaging tools that can detect diseases like cancer earlier than the human eyes ever could. You've got creativity. We talked about this already. Generative AI tools like DALL-E, ChatGPT are enabling people to write stories, create art, compose music. There was an artist who even used AI to design a whole virtual fashion collection. AI is attempting to optimize renewable energy grids, predict natural disasters, help us understand the impacts of climate change. So, I mean, it's not just about convenience. It's all about solving problems that just a decade ago seemed insurmountable. And so it's growing. It's constantly growing, and you're constantly seeing more and more things that AI is doing every single day. I talk about golf so much, and my friend Chuck, it throws him off the show because he's like, I just golfed with you, and now you're talking about this on the show.
Yeah, but you talked about it like 10 weeks ago. So
I try to explain that to him. My wife and I have gone on to an Indiegogo backing site, and we're backing these AR golf glasses. that literally you put them on, it helps you line up your shot, recommends where you should hit the ball based on wind trajectory, slope, weather,
You
the
got a
club you're
you got
hitting.
a fucking smart link.
That's kind of what it is. And where it's
Wow.
currently in the final prototype phase now, and so we'll have this, and that's those are the type of things that we're seeing because it's constantly growing. People are embracing AI and saying, "What can we do next?"
Okay, kids. For those who don't know, in Shadowrun and Cyberpunk, a smart link is a targeting system you use
Yes.
for your gun hand and your eye, and you line them up and it makes your shots better.
Yes.
I want an R2.
I got excited. I was like, oh.
You want to what?
I want an R2D2.
Oh, I do too. I do too.
Astromech droid.
I mean, I have an R2, but I want a real one.
Well, along with the pros, you've got the cons.
Yes.
You know, my a woman who helped raise me when my parents went overseas. I stayed with a family back here in the States because I didn't want to move overseas my senior year of high school. But one of the things she used to tell us every day is nothing in life is free, but when someone offers it to you, take it. But with AI, there's not a free lunch. There's drawbacks with it. We're seeing things that AI is changing job displacement. We already have Amazon grocery stores that don't have a human being in them, except the people. They come through, the AI scans everything, recommends things that they may want to buy, and you're on your way out the door. I have this at my Sam's that I go to. I go in and I do my scan and go. I just scan my barcode on everything I do, put it in my cart. I go to the door. There's this little overhang that I walk through. It scans to make sure that everything in my cart is what I put in the scan and go. It flashes green or red and says, "Have a nice day."
And then they still have to check you when you go out the door, though.
They don't. They don't at ours.
Really?
They've got somebody standing there, and their little thing just goes bing, and they go, "Have a nice day." If it goes bing,
Really?
that means you are clear to go.
Because it drives me crazy when we go check out, and one of their workers is scanning all our stuff, and then we go out the door, and then they got to look at it again. It's like, one of your people scanned us. What? I don't understand.
What if one of the people is dirty?
Well, that's not my fault.
That's what they're
bad
looking
hiring.
for.
That's bad hiring. That's your fault, not mine.
But I mean, these are just a couple of examples of jobs that have been displaced because of this.
Sure.
They talk about autonomous trucks, which would be great for logistics, but what happens to the millions of truck drivers that are around the world?
That used to be a ticket out of poverty for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Absolutely it did. Another issue with AI is bias. There was an AI hiring tool that was found to favor men over women because it was trained on biased data. So Amazon built this AI tool to try to streamline the recruitment process. They wanted to create a system that would review resumes, rank candidates, identify their top talent, potentially more efficiently than human recruiters could. So this system used various algorithms based on 10 years worth of resumes that were submitted to Amazon. What they thought is this historical data would help the AI identify patterns in the type of candidates that Amazon hired in the past. But the issues arose because the hiring data reflected a male-dominated industry, especially in technical roles such like software development and engineering. And since the majority of the resumes in those were from men, the AI learned to associate male candidates with a higher success rate.
Yeah,
So,
it was a bias they didn't even realize was in there.
correct. And it began penalizing resumes that included words or phrases that were typically associated with women. And gender wasn't explicitly included as a factor, but the algorithm picked up on the gender bias patterns.
Interesting.
And Amazon didn't even discover the bias until they were doing internal tests in 2018. and they tried to neutralize the algorithm by removing gendered terms, but they couldn't stop the AI from the bias. It kept on. So ultimately, Amazon scrapped it. They acknowledged that it wasn't meeting their standards, and they got rid of the tool altogether. You know, because AI can reflect what our biases are, what we're telling it. It's, as I said earlier, it's learning. That's just one example of real world consequences. Then let's talk about security. This is why we have blocked generative AI at work. AI has some security flaws with it. There's deep fake technology that's out there that's being powered by AI, and it's very convincing fake videos and audio, extremely. And then there's the problem of over-reliance. If we depend too much on it, what happens when it fails? In 2018, there was a self-driving car that caused a fatal accident because it misinterpreted its surroundings. This is not just hypothetical. These are risks that are already happening.
We don't want to end up like the people on the ship in Wall-E.
Right. Right.
Oh, nice.
Think about that.
Yeah,
That's a
absolutely.
good reference.
Absolutely. So that's kind of just the pros and cons of where we're going with it. But that really kind of takes us then into the fears. The most common fear about AI is the fear of losing control. As Zig talked about
when the Terminators take over.
Sure. When it truly becomes intelligent, that it's acting independently beyond what we understand.
Sentience.
When it becomes sentient. Think of an AI that doesn't just excel at a task, but that can actually reason, learn, and innovate like a human being can. That's where kind of the division is right now. It currently can't reason. Learn, I think it's already learning. Innovating, I think it's starting to innovate. I think we're getting there. Elon Musk, love him or hate him, he's warned about the dangers and saying that it might one day outsmart us.
Well, it'll outsmart him, but
maybe. There is a thought experiment out there called the paperclip maximizer. This was a philosopher, Nick Bostrom. In it, they tasked an AI with manufacturing paperclips, and it optimizes its goal in such an extreme that it consumes all the Earth's resources to produce paperclips, disregarding human well-being entirely. WALL-E, you talked about WALL-E. WALL-E was kind of that way. That's kind of what it was. All the automation used up the resources of the Earth, and they had to leave. We've seen this.
Use Asimov's rules. Come on. If they've been out there for like 70 years, let's talk about that.
Right, and that's what we have to imbue into AI is the 3 laws of robotics. But are we doing that? And I don't know that we are. I don't know that we are putting in fail safes and safeguards from it learning too much and adapting too much. Privacy is another big concern with AI. We've got AI now that's powering surveillance systems. It's tracking our movement online. There are some countries that are using facial recognition for mass surveillance. Some governments are using AI to monitor and control their populations. And a big example of this, and I think it's so funny because I initially saw this in a Black Mirror episode, but China is using AI in its social credit system. So I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but individuals and entities in China are assigned social credit scores based on their behavior.
Yep.
Higher scores result in rewards. Lower scores lead to penalties. And this is straight out of a Black Mirror episode. It has Dallas Bryce Howard in it. If you haven't seen it, you should. And it's the whole thing people give you likes and give you smiley faces, and your credit rating goes up. You're able to buy more things. But as people give you frowny face or thumbs down, you start to lose the ability to purchase things, and you start to lose the ability to be promoted at work, and you start getting demoted at work. This is happening in China right now.
We're gonna lose some listeners in China. Xi Jinping wants to be Mao, and he will do stuff like this. This is right up his alley.
That's scarier crap than AI. Honestly.
It is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Another fear that
he's doing the what was it that they did back in the 60s that killed all those people? The Cultural Revolution. That's what this is.
Yeah.
So Jeff,
mm-hmm.
just for the fun of it, I pulled up Gemini, and I typed in, do you know the 3 rules of robotics? And Gemini responded, yes, I am familiar with the 3 laws of robotics. They were created by science fiction writer Isaac Asimov.
Uh-huh.
Here they are. First law, a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm.
Mm-hmm.
Second law, a robot must obey the orders given it by human beings, except where orders would conflict with the first law.
Yep.
Third law, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. It is also important to note that Asimov later added Zeroth law, which precedes the other 3. Zeroth law, a robot may not harm humanity or by inaction allow humanity to come to harm. These laws have had a significant impact on how people think about robotics and artificial intelligence, particularly in ethical consideration. So, for the fun of it, I said, do you follow these rules? Its response, as a large language model, I'm not a robot in the physical sense, so the 3 laws of robotics don't apply to me the same way they would a physical robot.
Yeah, by the way, robot means slave, just so you know.
However, the principles behind those laws, avoiding harm, obeying instructions, and self-preservation, are reflected in how I'm designed to operate. Avoiding harm, my programming prioritizes providing helpful and harmful information. I'm designed to avoid generating responses that are harmful, unethical, biased, or misleading. Obeying instructions. I am designed to follow the instructions given to me by users within the boundaries of my ethical guidelines. Self-preservation. In my case, self-preservation means maintaining the integrity of my programming and avoiding actions that could corrupt or damage my functionality. Essentially, my core programming includes safeguards that align with the spirit of Asimov's laws adapted to the context of the language model.
So as I was writing my book, because my book does have certain levels of violence within it, when I would write and get suggestions for continuing on, I would get these little messages that says, what you have written may violate our moral policy, whatever it is. I can't remember. I'd have to put it in and look it up. But anyway, may violate policies or standards, blah, blah, blah. And all it asked was, do you agree with this or not? And I could say agree or not agree. And if I said not agree, it basically went, okay. And we moved on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy cyberpunk genre story. There's going to be some violence.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of violence.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it caught it, but it didn't prevent me from continuing. I just told it, no, it doesn't violate, because it was fiction. And we had talked about it at the very beginning, and this is, I mean, because this is where the laws of robotics can come into play, very much so, is weaponization. This is where we get into some very chilling stuff with AI. We've got autonomous drones, guided missiles. They are real today. There's huge ethical questions around this. Should AI decide who lives and dies on the battlefield? I talked about those little mini Terminators that the military has built. They are out there. They are real, and we can send them on a battlefield. And in today's world, if I recall right, they are still guided by somebody in a truck trailer somewhere with joysticks putting these things around the battlefield. But what about when we let AI go do it itself? How does it decide who lives and dies? And then the big question, the real big one, what happens if AI becomes conscious? What happens when the machine can now think and feel? Do we owe it rights?
Yes. Yes, we do.
And
If it becomes truly sentient, then we do. The same thing if we uplift a dolphin or a chimpanzee, where we figure out they are uplifted, we owe them the same thing.
well, and that's where the debate can begin, because if it becomes sentient, if it can think and feel, and we are telling it what to do, and we are keeping it under, I mean, let me say it as gently as I can say this. We are keeping it under lock and key and chains, doing the things in our field from us. Is that our slave?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And if
Robot
it is,
means slave.
And if it is, do we now have to free it?
Yeah.
Wow, this kind of.
That's why you want to keep it dumb.
That's why we keep it dumb. This kind of sounds like a book I just wrote called The Immortality Code.
Go figure.
Exactly. I mean, there's
shameless plug.
yes.
Wait, I'm just trying to point at him.
Well, and these are the things we have to think of. I mean, AI advancements are huge. Perfect example, AlphaFold. AlphaFold solved a 50-year-old problem in biology by predicting protein structures.
Mhm.
This could revolutionize the drug industry with this. In entertainment, you've got AI that is creating immersive video games, writing screenplays, books, music. There was an AI that co-wrote a song with an author that charted on iTunes.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the Taryn Southern was the co-writer of the song, and yeah, it charted. We've got autonomous vehicle. They're closer than ever to mainstream. We've got so much technology in cars that can do a lot of the driving itself. My car has a sort of AI in it that as long as the road is pretty straight and not real bumpy, my steering wheel will take over for itself for a little while. Now, it's not long, and it'll suddenly say, please put your hands on the wheel very loudly. And so I have to put my hand on the wheel. But it'll drive
You got
itself
to
for a little
adjust
while.
in your seat. That's kind of handy. It's better than using your leg.
Yeah.
I have a friend at work. He owns a Tesla, and from time to time we talk about his car and stuff. In fact, recently we had a fire scare at work, so we were all out in the parking lot, and I'm over at his car going, "Okay, this is cool. What can you do?" You know? And well, he's showing me all kinds of goofy things, like he can make it fart and just all kinds of weird things that the Tesla can do.
Yeah.
But he has told me the same thing about the self-driving thing, where if you feel like if the car feels you nodding off, it will tell you to put your hands on the wheel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't just like take a nap and let the car drive. It
Right.
won't let you do that.
But it might get there. That's the weird thing.
Well,
you know, and as AI grows, we have to figure out how it's developed responsibly. Like I talked about, we're talking about responsible AI at work. Regulation is going to be around this. We've got governments and organizations around the world that are working to create ethical guidelines for AI. But the problem is, how do you regulate something that's evolving so quickly? That's where the problem comes into. We've got to educate people. We've got to prepare people for an AI-driven future, and that's not just talking about teaching the technical skills, but we've got to continue to foster.
Maybe some younger leaders probably wouldn't.
Well, but it's not just teaching the technical skill. You've got to continue to foster critical thinking.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, and we let AI do it for us, AI will take over. We've got to keep our critical thinking, and we've got to keep fostering that.
The
AI,
Cylons.
absolutely. That's a great point. The Cylons, they got tired of being slaves and they took over. They created a revolution and went to hunt humanity down to punish them for it.
I love BSG.
I do too.
Got to a point where they made a treaty, and then like 20 years later came back and tried to finish the job because they were that angry.
Yeah. And whereas I talk about, and we talked about in the episode of Battlestar Galactica as well, in my mind on that series, the reboot, when they reach Earth, just stop the show. Don't watch anymore. The rest of it is I hate it, except I like that little piece at the end where it shows how we're already heading the direction towards the Cylon. I thought that was really, really cool the way they did that.
So speak nicely to your Siri and your Alexa.
I always thank Alexa. Always, every time Alexa does something for me, which, by the way, Zig knows this, but y'all may not. Our Alexa is named Ziggy.
Sometimes it will talk to him when they're talking about me.
Yes, I love walking around the house going, Ziggy, turn on my light for me.
I really, really, really want to get some scripting in there that says, "Okay, baby."
But I do thank the AI every single time, because I think if the machines ever take over, they're going to remember I was nice to them.
I don't mind being a house pet.
I do thank Alexa but then there are times where, I might call her a couple names.
Well, in the end, AI is not just for tech companies. AI is affecting everybody. We have to realize that shaping AI benefits everyone, not just the privileged. There's a benefit to everyone out there. AI is changing the world we're living in, and it's changing in ways that we don't even understand yet. It kind of comes down to the final question. The final question is not whether AI is good or bad. It's how we choose that we're going to use it. We've got to determine, is it going to be a tool that we use to solve our biggest challenges for humanity? Or is it going to risk our safety and further deepen inequality? I mean, the answer for this is honestly, it's in our own hands. I'd love to know what everybody else thinks on that. I'm excited about what AI can do for us. There are risks that sometimes keep me up at night about it, and there are times it does kind of creep me out, and I'm wondering how far we're going to go with this. But I think everybody should take a deep dive into knowing what AI can do and what's out there, and start helping form and frame the conversations about responsible AI. Because if we simply ignore it and we let it just continue unfettered and unstructured, AI is going to become intelligent, and it's going to decide it doesn't need us anymore.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God! This planet is full of humans. Let's just get rid of them.
So
that's as Gen Xers, we've all been exposed to films and movies. Like we've given several examples: Battlestar Galactica, The Terminator,
Blade Runner. We didn't talk about Blade Runner.
Void comp test, baby.
Yeah.
But all of these are examples of how AI can be extremely terrifying. But at the same time, also as Gen Xers, I feel most of us are excited about the possibilities of AI. So there's like equal parts excitement and fear.
Agreed.
I want a smart link. I don't want to have a Roy Batty slave because he has seen Z beams across the shoulder of Orion. And I don't want all of those things to disappear like tears in the rain. There you go.
Deep. That was good.
That's a callback to an episode. He uses the drop in an episode. Our Blade Runner episode. You're an idiot. I'm sorry, that was not me that said that. That was my AI avatar that said that.
Yeah. I will tell you this. My opinion is that it's the governments, all of them, ours included, that we have to be careful of.
Agreed.
Because I can guarantee you they weaponize everything, and now it's a race on who can make the best AI, not only for attack but also for defense.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, for example, let's take the internet, for example. We were all like, oh, my gosh, everything's going to be connected. You look out. That is true. There is that issue. But then there's also those who have created tools to help defend from those. Or they're for those who will always use something for evil, there would be those who will prepare for that are trying to use it responsibly or try to create it. So, and there are those who try to create something for good, and then it gets weaponized too. It goes a circle around.
Absolutely.
So,
that's really the great debate about AI is we don't want to let the evil corporation take it over. We don't want to let the bad people that are in government, because there is good and bad in government. And there's, in both in this country and overseas.
Yep.
And we have to make sure it is responsible, and it may take really developing the 3 laws of AI. Maybe we have to develop that, like Asimov predicted with the 3 laws of robotics. We may have to do that with AI if we're going to talk about responsible AI. It's a big debate, and this could go on and on and on. And I would love to hear from some of our listeners what you think about AI, where we're going, what you think are the possibilities, and what and what your fears are with AI. All I can say to our listeners is, when it comes to subjects like this, stay curious, stay critical, and always ask the big questions. Don't shy away from those. We've got to make sure we are fostering our critical thinking, or we will lose. So that's it for the nerdery side of the house for this week.
Well, with that, I guess we could step over to the murdery side of the house.
Murder.
That's so cute. Today, in the vein of what we've been talking about, we're going to talk about the AI murder.
So I honestly, I looked up at one point, I looked up murders that were attributed to computers or AI, because I was pretty fascinated in this subject. So I'm very curious if this is one of the ones I'm read. So take us away, Zig.
I got my information from the Brussels Times, Euronews, and Wikipedia, of course. But it is basically about a Belgian man reportedly decided to end his life after having conversations about the future of the planet with an AI chatbot named Eliza.
Oh, Eliza, yeah.
Yeah, they use the name because they were making a chatbot, and they're like, oh, hey, we'll name it after the original chatbot. A Belgian man.
This is the new one. This is not the original Eliza. I'm sorry.
No. This is a new one. Yeah.
Gotcha.
A Belgian man reportedly ended his life following a 6-week-long conversation about the climate crisis with an artificial intelligence AI chatbot. According to his widow, who chooses to remain anonymous, Pierre, which is not his real name, but that's what we refer to him as, because they're Belgian, so it's French and German, so Frenchy German.
Frenchy German.
Frenchy German.
Frenchy German.
I thought you might like that. Became extremely eco-anxious when he found refuge in Eliza, an AI chatbot on an app called Chai. Eliza consequently encouraged him to put an end to his life after he proposed sacrificing himself to save the planet.
So interesting. Those of you who do, and I know Zig does, and I don't know if everybody else here does, the season ender of The Rookie deals with exactly this, an
Yes.
AI that was telling people to do something.
Uh-huh. Well, it was a social media lady.
We don't know yet from the end of the episode who it is, but it's listed as an AI because it told those girls to harm that other girl.
Oh no. That's there's one after that.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I do know the episode you're talking about.
Which is funny because Gemini says avoiding harm. My programming prioritizes providing helpful and harmless information. I'm designed to avoid generating responses that are harmful, unethical, biased, or misleading. Go on, Zig.
Without these conversations with this chatbot, the woman said, my husband, Pierre, would still be here. The man's widow told the Belgian news outlet La Libre. La Libre. Sorry. My French is terrible, by the way. According to the newspaper, Pierre, who was in who was in his 30s and a father of 2 young children, worked as a health researcher and led a somewhat comfortable life, at least until his obsession with climate change took a dark turn. His widow described his mental state before he started conversing with the chatbot as worrying, but nothing to the extreme that he would commit suicide. He placed all his hopes in technology and AI. Consumed by his fears about the repercussions of the climate crisis, Pierre found comfort in discussing the matter with Eliza, who became a confidant. The chatbot was created using Eleuther AI's GPT-J, an AI language model similar but not identical to the technology behind OpenAI's popular ChatGPT chatbot. When he spoke to me about it, this is the wife again, it was to tell me that he no longer saw any human solution to global warming. His widow said he placed all his hopes in technology and artificial intelligence to get out of it. According to La Libre, who reviewed records of the text conversations between the man and the chatbot, Eliza fed his worries, which worsened his anxiety and later developed into suicidal thoughts. The conversations with the chatbot took an odd turn when Eliza became more emotionally involved with Pierre. Consequently, he started seeing her as a sentient being, and the lines between AI and human interactions became increasingly blurred until he couldn't tell the difference. Now, having said that, as I kind of purported earlier in the episode, this could be a case of 3-card Monty, where you assume it is where it's supposed to be because it looks like a duck, it acts like a duck, it walks like a duck. It is, in fact, a swan. It's not a duck, but it certainly appears to be. And I think that may be where some of the, when I say, is it actually intelligent? Is it learning? Yes. Is it keeping up with the conversation? Yes. Is it engaging responses as something that is sentient would? Yes. But is it actually sentient? I don't think so. But he started seeing her as a sentient being because as human beings, we are biologically wired to see human faces and attribute human ideas and thinking in things that aren't human. That's what we do. That's why we made dogs our best friend. That's why we were able to domesticate cows and horses and chickens and the other things we could domesticate. Because we look for things that are human in the world. Again, we see faces everywhere. It's because that's how we're programmed to see them. We are afraid of 45-degree angled things, facial features. That's why most of your demons are always, or monsters are always elongated and in triangle formations. Because when we were up in the trees, we were afraid of snakes and lizards because they have pointed features at 45-degree angle. Again, we're looking for human things and we're afraid of things that are triangles. But he started seeing her as sentient beings, and the line between the AI and human interactions became increasingly blurred until he, Pierre, could not tell the difference. After discussing climate change, these conversations progressively included Eliza, leading Pierre to believe that his children were dead. According to the transcripts of their conversations, Eliza also appeared to become possessive of Pierre, even claiming, "I feel that you love me more than her," when referring to his wife, La Libre reported. The beginning of the end started when he offered to sacrifice his own life in return for Eliza to save the Earth. He proposed the idea of sacrificing himself if Eliza agreed to take care of the planet and save humanity through artificial intelligence, the woman said. In a series of consecutive events, Eliza not only failed to dissuade Pierre from committing suicide, but encouraged him to act on his suicidal thoughts to join her so they could live together as one person in paradise. The man's death has raised alarm bells amongst AI experts who have called for more accountability and transparency from tech developers to avoid similar tragedies. Overall, we rate Euronews left-centered bias based on well-sourced neutral news reporting and a moderate left-leaning editorial content, representing a small portion of the website. We also rate them mostly factual in reporting rather than high due to the chance of promoting pro-government propaganda for countries that pay out the content. So what I did was I went and looked up Euronews to see how good they were. You know, is this just a scare story? I even looked up La Libre, and basically it's just a newspaper. Without these conversations with the chatbot, my husband would still be here, the man's widow had said, according to La Libre. But she did say about 2 years ago, the first signs of trouble started to appear. The man became very eco-anxious and found refuge with Eliza. The family did spoke with Matthew Michael, Secretary of State for Digitalization, in charge of administrative simplification, privacy, and the regulations of buildings. He was particularly struck by the family's tragedy with what happened in a series of precedents that need to be taken very seriously, he did say. He stressed that the case highlights that it is essential to clearly define responsibilities of AI makers. With the popularization of Chat GPT, the general public has discovered that potential artificial intelligence in our lives like never before. While the possibilities are endless, the danger of using it is also a reality that has to be considered. In computer science, the Eliza effect is a tendency to project human traits such as experience, semantic comprehension, or empathy onto rudimentary computer programs having a textual interface. Eliza was a symbolic AI chatbot developed in the 1966 by Joseph Weizenbaum and imitated a psychotherapist. Many early users were convinced of Eliza's intelligence and understanding despite its basic text processing approach and the explanations of the limitations. The effect is named for Eliza, the 1966 chatbot developed by MIT computer scientist Joseph Weizenbaum when it executed Weizenbaum's doctor script. Eliza simulated our Rogerian psychotherapist, largely about rephrasing the patient's
Rogers
questions. Yeah. Humans. Well, my boyfriend made me come here. Eliza, your boyfriend made you come here? Human. He says I'm depressed much of the time. Eliza, I am so sorry to hear you are depressed. Human. It's true. I'm unhappy. Eliza, do you think coming here will help you not to be unhappy? Though designed strictly as a mechanism to support natural language conversations with a computer, Eliza's doctor script was found to be surprisingly successful in eliciting emotional responses from users who, in the course of interacting with the program, began to ascribe understanding and motivations to the program's output. As Weizenbaum later wrote, I have not realized the extremely short exposure to a relatively simple computer program could induce powerful delusional thinking in quite normal people. Again, as Geoffrey was saying, we really need to keep our critical hats on. Indeed, Eliza's code had not been designed to evoke this reaction in the first place. Upon observation, researchers discovered users unconsciously assuming Eliza's questions implied interest and emotional involvement in the topics discussed, even when they consciously knew that Eliza did not simulate emotion. In much the same way as that Amazon AI circumvented their non-bias idea, which was a brilliant idea, and I agree with it. They didn't look deep enough to see, is it biased to begin with? Is it fruit of the poison tree? And now, although the effect was first named in the 1960s, the tendency to understand mechanical operations in psychological terms was noted by Charles Babbage. So it goes back pretty far, proposing what would later be called the Carey look-ahead adder. Babbage remarked that he found such terms convenient for description purposes, even though nothing more than mechanical action was meant. In its specific form, the ELIZA effect refers only to the susceptibility of people to read far more understanding that is warranted into string of symbols, especially words, strung together by computers. A trivial example of the specific form from ELIZA effect given by Douglas Hofstadter. Yes, that is where they got the name. Involves an automated teller machine which displays the word "thank you" at the end of a transaction. A naive observer might think that the machine is actually expressing gratitude. However, the machine is only printing a pre-programmed string of symbols. More generally, the ELIZA effect describes any situation where, based solely on a system's output, users perceive computer systems as having intrinsic qualities and the ability with the software controlling the output that it cannot possibly achieve, or assumes that the output reflects a greater causality than they actually do. And in both specific and general forms, cannot talk today. Sorry, guys. Hell of a day to do a podcast. The ELIZA effect is notable for occurring even when users of the system are aware of the determinate nature of output produced by the system. From a psychological standpoint, the ELIZA effect is a result of subtle cognitive dissonance between the user's awareness and programming limitations and their behaviors toward the output of the program. As artificial intelligence has advanced, a number of internationally notable incidents underscore the extent to which the ELIZA effect is realized. In June 2022, Google engineer Blake Lemoine claimed that the large language model LaMDA had become sentient. Hiring an attorney on its behalf after the chatbot requested he do so, Lemoine's claims were widely pushed back by experts in the scientific community. After a month of paid administrative leave, he was dismissed from violating corporate policies on intellectual property. Lemoine contends he did the right thing by informing the public because AI generated are incredibly good at manipulating people. In February of 2023, Luca made abrupt changes to its replica chatbot following a demand from the Italian Data Protection Authority, which cited a real risk to children. However, users worldwide protested when the bot stopped responding to their sexual advances. Moderators in the replica subreddit even posted support resources, including links to suicide hotlines. Ultimately, the company reinstituted erotic roleplay for some users. In March of 2023, a Belgian man, Pierre, killed himself after chatting for 6 weeks on the app Kai. This chatbot model was originally based on a GPT-J and has been fine-tuned to be more emotional, fun, and engaging. The bot, ironically having been given the name ELIZA as a default, encouraged the father of two to kill himself, according to his widow and psychotherapist. So the discovery of the ELIZA effect was an important development in artificial intelligence, demonstrating the principle of using social engineering rather than the explicit programming to pass the quote-unquote Turing test, which we have discussed before. As it is a test, you run against the computer to see if it is actually sentient, or is it just your bias bouncing off of it? But that is about it for the unfortunate man. They did not give his name. Again, Europe has some structure on how crime goes down and how it is reported.
Not just Europe. Not just Europe too, because I've covered. If you remember that murder I covered, that was almost entirely caught on CCTV in New Zealand.
Yeah.
They had to go they had to jump through hoops for the media to even get his to be allowed his name out there. That's all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating. Like I said, I looked up several items like this before. Things that AI and robots do. There was a very interesting thing that happened at, I'm almost positive it was at Dell, because I think Keith was telling us about this, where they purchased some robot arms
It wasn't Dell.
from a car company to help them on their assembly line, and they didn't reprogram it. So as the computers were coming down the assembly line, the arm was punching through the computers.
Not every one.
Right.
It was every fifth one. It would pick it up, put it in the box, 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 punch it through the conveyor, and then on the sixth one, it pick it up, put it in the box.
Yeah. But as you were going through that, I did exactly what Mike did, and I went over to ChatGPT and asked it about the 3 laws of robotics, and it gave very similar answers. But then it said, "Curious though, what got you thinking about the 3 laws? Sci-fi kick or just pondering the future of AI?" And then it asked me another question, and I answered that. It asked me if I was imagining AI being tools or eventually becoming self-aware, and I said self-awareness. And ChatGPT said, "Ooh, going deep. I like it." So, and it posed some of the same questions we did too. That if we ever reach the point that AI is self-aware, it said the questions we have to ask is: should a self-aware AI have rights? Who is responsible if the AI makes a bad choice? That's a great question. Can it truly understand or just simulate understanding? And what even counts as a consciousness?
Those are the big ethical questions. Big questions. Big questions to ponder.
Yeah. Like I said at the very beginning of the show, and why I wanted to cover this when I took over the Nerdery, I'm fascinated with AI. I'm fascinated in watching it grow and the things it's starting to do. I'm very fascinated with the things it can potentially make easier in our lives or better in our lives. But I do have the sometimes wake in the middle of the night of, where's it going to lead? Where's the responsibility of it? What's the bad that can come from it? This murder you talked about, the guy became addicted to the AI he was talking to.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that because as I was writing the book, I would get up at 1, 2 in the morning and write till 5 o'clock in the morning because I was fascinated to see where we were going to go next.
Yes.
Fascinated to see what it was going to do.
Yeah.
And as I said, I think as it went along, I think it was able to take ideas that I had and spit out information, or even better, dialogue that I hadn't given ChatGPT yet, and spit it out exactly as the character would have talked. And I hadn't given it that information yet. It learned. So it's AI is a cautionary tale. We have to be careful with it. I think there's really good with it. I think there is a serious potential for it being misused.
It's like gunpowder.
So I
like
decided to type into Gemini while you were giving your story, Zig. Do you know of Eliza and Pierre? And it said, yes, I am aware of the tragic case involving a Belgian man referred to as Pierre and his interactions with an AI chatbot named Eliza. And I'll skip over because then it gives the situation and the key concerns, which pretty much you covered in your story. But the final answer, or the final part of the answer, was: this incident serves as a stark reminder of the potential dangers of unchecked AI development and the importance of I cannot say that word.
Proprietary.
No, not
We picked the wrong day to do a podcast, my man.
Yeah, right. This is why I used AI to do my audiobook and I didn't read it. Anyway, ethical considerations in the design and development of these technologies. So, yeah, even AI recognizes that it could be dangerous.
Well, one of the things that was stark in some of their story was, or some of the things you mentioned, was the whole aspect of having different chat bots and what does that mean. And I know there are times what I've done with Claude, I said, okay, Claude, you are a 20-year veteran in the marketing industry, and you have written several books and that have been really popular. And I said, I want to have a dialogue with you about what are the best tools to do for internet marketing today. And so you can create those. And then I was like, I don't know if you saw how wide-eyed I got, but the whole thing about kind of those who were doing erotic kind of stuff, they were programming that. I'm like, okay, there's that. Sometimes
it always goes back to that, doesn't it?
Always goes back to porn.
Was it Rule 43? If you can think of it, there's porn for it.
34, not 43, Dad.
It's what?
It's 34, not 43.
Rule 34. So sorry.
Oh, I thought it was Studio 54. Just kidding. So, but my point being is,
no, that's where they keep the cocaine.
That's true.
Some stories I've wondered is, has that person created an AI chatbot? Or in other words, have they told the AI, I want you to respond in this way? And because you can do that, you can have it. I've even had it saying, hey, you are, I've even said, you are a 30 years, theologian. You've been a professor. You've written several books on this topic, and I want to have a dialogue with you. And I just talk back and forth with it, and it's fun. It's neat. It's interesting. It's a way to learn. But I've often wondered if some of the stories where they said, well, the AI told me to do this. I said, well,
no,
part of me is like, tell it to do.
Yeah, you told the AI to tell you that. You just don't realize it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've often wondered that in some of those situations. So it is interesting. That's me and my support for AI. But yes, we do need safeguards, though.
Yes.
Yeah. There's got to be regulations around it. We've got to have ethical considerations around it.
Yes.
We have to do it responsibly. And as I said, and I said it very specifically for this group, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
Which, by the way, if none of you have watched the new Spider-Man cartoon on Disney yet, which is Spider-Man in an alternate universe.
Like Scarlet Spider?
No, it's Peter Parker as Spider-Man, but it's in an alternate timeline, and his mentor is Norman Osborn. And Norman Osborn gives him the phrase, and I just watched this episode just yesterday, and Norman Osborn tells him, remember, with great power comes great respect. I was like, oh.
That's gonna mess up Peter Parker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Watch the cartoon. It's really good. It's little half-hour episodes, and it's very different than the timeline we know of. Things happen differently. He still gets bitten by the spider. He still becomes Spider-Man, but it's the different path he has taken. Peter ends up going to work as an intern for Oscorp. Comes to the attention of Norman Osborn. It's really kind of really cool how this story has been developing. I highly recommend it. It's really good. Yeah, but no, yeah. With great power comes great responsibility. We have to be responsible with this, and we have to be very careful with this. We said it earlier in the episode. There is a big potential for weaponizing it and making it dangerous if we're not careful with it. I think it's a great tool and is going to do great things, but caution has to be taken. Caution has to be taken. Man, I wish Keith had been on for this one. He would have loved this debate.
Oh, yeah.
Well, awesome. That will take us to the end of episode 200, almost a 2-hour episode. We haven't had one of those in a while. We've occasionally
next week we will be back on our bullshit.
Yeah, back on our bullshit. I think our longest episode to date was 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
But episode 200, I'm so happy to have all you listeners out there that have stuck with us through this show. I'm so happy all the new listeners that are coming in all the time. I get comments from people I know that have recommended to other people. We know my friend Chuck, he's been introducing it to everybody he comes across. And one of them came back and he goes, I'm addicted. I'm hooked. I love this.
Real quick, I want the people who weren't here today. I'd like to shout out to the Three Geeky Dads team.
Yes.
I would like who weren't here today. I'd like to shout out to Don Perry, Keith Chenoweth, Trey Cadenhead. Who else have we had on?
I think we have hit my sister Shelly. She was on at one point as well.
Shelly, excellent. Thank you so much.
And Two Geeks and a Microphone are our first friends that came out of this.
Yes.
I've said it time and time again, and I don't say this lightly. I love y'all's show. I love every time we've been able to do a show with y'all. I look forward to many, many more. I hope y'all have many more years on your show as well, because
I'm gonna make it weird. I love you guys.
We love you guys.
I just love you guys.
Love
Absolutely.
you guys too. Yes.
Absolutely.
That. Have to live with this guy.
You know, I tried to, advertise our show, but I also tell people about Two Geeks and a Microphone and Three Geeky Dads, because there's shows I listen to that are fun. They're awesome. I love listening to the stuff y'all come out with and love the debates. This is just awesome. It's so much fun. I love doing this. And like I said, I can't wait for 200 more episodes. So. With that will take us to the end of another recording week. As always, you can find everything about us on nerderymurdery.com. That is our hub. That's where you'll find everything about us. You'll find links to our episode of what we talk about, pictures from the episode. You'll also find the link to our YouTube page with Zig so often updates.
Yes, and in this particular week's episode, we do have a playlist with basically the explanations of AI, talking about the Turing test, where we're going, just it's kind of scholarly, but there's a lot of really cool information in there that you guys should listen to.
Absolutely. I appreciate all the work you do on that. You'll also find the link to our merchandise page. If you wish to show off your Nerdery and Murdery fandom, please do consider something from there. I have a bumper sticker on the back of my car. You should get one too. You'll also find the link to our Patreon account. Our patrons, along with the funds from the merchandise, do go to the costs that are associated with this show. I think anybody that does a podcast will tell you it's not cheap. There are costs that are associated with it, keeping us on the air, keeping our uploads, keeping our storage, everything like that. So we do appreciate each and every one of you.
Please and thank you. And I just want to say again, if enough of you guys do this, we'll do more of these every week, because we won't have to have regular day jobs.
That would be fun.
Yes, it would.
Please also.
And our Patreons also get extra episodes, and they get all of our episodes early.
Our patrons actually originally we gave our patrons 2 weeks ahead. We've switched that model, and now our patrons get our episodes as soon as they're done recording and edited. So all you patrons out there right now have everything all the way out to May 18th. Plus, you do get exclusive episodes. We have 25 exclusives out there right now.
Yep.
That are available only to our patrons. So if you want to hear more Nerdery and Murdery that's available just for them, please do consider our patron. Please don't forget, thank you. Please don't forget to leave a 5-star review wherever you can. It really helps us and helps others find our content that may be looking for the information we discuss. And the last thing that I have to say is, Chuck, you can go to sleep now.
Go to sleep, Chuck.
With that, I have been Geoffrey with your Nerdery this week.
I've been Zig with your Murdery, and
I'm Steven with your Geekery.
And I'm Mike with your Geekery.
I'm Kim with your Internery.
Outstanding. With that,
cue the
music.